Welcome all the students. Now we'll discuss about Module 7, 17 for the program first year BSc Agriculture Honors for the subject Agricultural Engineering for second semester of course code Engineering 121, and the title of the course is Soil and Water Conservation Engineering. The name of the module is Contour, Definition, its uses and characteristics. I am Mr. Vinod Atkari, Assistant Professor, Don Bosco College of Agriculture, Sulcorna, Kepe, Goa. The outline of this module is introduction, means we will study here the contour line, its definition, object of contour map, uses of contour map, and different characteristics of these contour lines. At the end of this module, we will able to learn about different concept related to the contour line, object of contour map, uses of contour map, and characteristics of these contour lines. Introduction. So the contour line is defined as the line which is going through the equal elevations or line joining the equal heights or equal reduced levels is known as contour lines. The elevation and depression of the surface of the ground are shown by this line on the map. That map is called as contour map. For example, suppose there is a pond which is partly filled by the water and the height of the water surface is 100 meter. So the shoreline of the pond will then be represented by the 100-meter contour line on the map. If the level of the water in the pond raised by 1 meter or 2 meter or 3 meter, then the successive shorelines will be represented by 101, that is 101 meter, 102 and 103 meters respectively. So likewise, these contour lines are drawn like this 10, 20, 30, 40 meters. So this is the typical diagram for showing these contour lines. So these are the heights 300 and 3500 meter, 3000 to 2500 likewise. So what is mean by the contour interval? Here as shown in this diagram, the vertical distance between any two consecutive contours is called as contour interval. It is also called as vertical equivalent. Horizontal equivalent, as shown in this diagram here, the horizontal distance between these two consecutive contours is called as horizontal equivalent. Here the slope is very steeper, then the lesser will be the horizontal equivalent. What are the object of this contour map? The general map of a country includes the location of roads, railways, rivers, villages, towns and so on. But the nature of the ground surface cannot be realized from this map. So the contour map is required for that. However, for doing the different engineering projects like construction of the road, construction of railway tracks, so we required the topography of that area. So the contour map is very much essential for that projects. Uses of contour maps. Contour maps are used in so many applications, like by inspection of contour map of the country, we'll come to know whether it is a flat terrain or some undulating terrain. In agricultural work, contour maps are useful for guiding and planning the improvement projects. The most economic site of the construction can be found out by this contour map for the construction of the different reservoirs or ponds or roads or railways, etc. The quantities of roads, canals, reservoirs and earthwork can be computed by this contour map. Contour maps are used to determine the capacity of reservoirs and area of that drainage basin or watershed. Contour maps are used in watershed planning as well. Contour maps are used for irrigation planning and design the irrigation systems. So these are the uses. Next is the characteristics of these lines. These lines have different characteristics. It is very important to study these characteristics before drawing these lines. So first is all the points on the contour have the same elevation as it is defined in definition of contour line. Contour lines close to each other represent very steep ground slopes. Contour lines are widely separated, represent it is a flat ground. A uniform slope is indicated when the contour lines are uniformly spaced, and a plane surface when there is a straight or parallel lines or equally spaced lines. A series of closed contour lines on map represent a hill if the higher values are inside. If the higher values like 100, then 90, 80, if 100 is inside, then there is a hill, like it is shown in this diagram. So here 65, 70, 75, 80. So higher values is inside. So there is a heel. And if the higher values are outside, then there is a depression as shown in this diagram. Next, characteristics. A series of closed contours on the map indicate the depressions if the higher values are outside, as we discussed in last slide. Contour lines crosses ridges or valleys lines at right angle as shown in this diagram. If the higher values are outside the bend, it represent it is a valley. So here the higher values are outside the bend, so it is a valley. And if the higher values are inside the bend, then it is a ridge as shown in this diagram. So the contour lines, next characteristics, contour lines cannot end anywhere, but it close to themselves either within or outside the limits of the map. So these are the important characteristics. Next characteristics, the contour lines cannot merge or cross one another on the map except some few cases. In the cases of overhanging cliff, here it is crosses. So it is a it is a important characteristics of this line. Also in case of vertical cliff, here the contour lines coincide each other. 100, 95, 90 lines are coincide because it is a completely 90-degree to ground. That's why. Next, as contour line represent level lines, they are perpendicular to the lines of steepest slope. Here, it is the perpendicular or 90-degree to the steepest slope. Next, contour never run into one another except in cases of vertical cliff like here. It is crosses here. So these are the important characteristics of this contour line. So these are the references. Thank you.